Trump has a lot of power in this area. But when you look at the Constitution, it wouldn't appear so. So Article 1, Section of the Constitution clearly gives Congress, not the president, the power to raise and lower tariffs and set which goods are to be taxed.
I'm Tiana Lowe Doescher, and welcome to The Debrief. I'm here with commentary editor Conn Carroll. Conn, the big news of the week is that even though Chris Wray, who was appointed by Donald Trump as the FBI Director in 2017, is eligible to complete a 10-year term, he's keen on replacing him with an outsider, Kash Patel.
Yes.
And this has been the news on the Hill. Why is Trump so emphatic about replacing his own former nominee? And why is Kash Patel considered the man?
Sure. Well, Trump believes correctly that there has been a number of failures at the FBI. Most prominently was the Russiagate investigation into his own campaign. This was an incident in which false information created actually by Hillary Clinton's campaign was used by FBI agents against regulations to obtain a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. And this was the foundation of the entire Russiagate scandal. So Kash Patel was actually working for Congressman Devin Nunes at the time. And he wrote the Nunes memo that actually laid all this out and was really kind of the first accusation that it was this false information, this Steele dossier that was the basis for spying on Trump. So Patel came to fame with this, and then Trump hired him to a number of other national security positions within the White House. But it shows that he understands how the FBI works and understands the failures of FBI. And more importantly, the agents that incorrectly or against FBI regulations used that Steele dossier were never punished. Okay, so this is a problem that the FBI has left unaddressed. So Trump, by choosing Patel, is choosing someone who knows where the FBI is making mistakes and will come in and hold those people that are making those mistakes accountable, which Christopher Wray was not doing.
And this sort of portends the looming drama that I think hasn't hit the forefront yet, but the idea of Trump versus Congress. He's teased doing these recess appointments, seems to back off. We don't know what the whip count yet is for Patel. But one of the big areas where this can come to the forefront is Trump and tariff power. Trump has already announced two big series of tariffs. One, the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada if they don't crack down on the flow of illegal immigration and illegal drugs. And then second, a 100% tariff on BRICS nations if they proceed with creating a competitor currency to the US dollar. And investors love these threats. We've already seen Mexico crack down on caravans. Justin Trudeau make a pilgrimage down to Mar-a-Lago. But what's Trump's actual power if he does want to go through with a tariff like this?
Yeah. So, I mean, you also forgot the 10% tariff on all Chinese goods, but they come so fast and furious. I understand you left that one out. The surprise answer is that Trump has a lot of power in this area. But when you look at the Constitution, it wouldn't appear so. So Article 1, Section of the Constitution clearly gives Congress, not the president, the power to raise and lower tariffs and set which goods are to be taxed. However, starting in the 1930s, Congress has passed laws which transferred that power from the congressional branch to the executive branch. So this is a delegation of power from Congress to the president. So Trump actually has the power to slap all these tariffs basically whenever he wants to.
Is it unconditional, or is it like we saw back in 2017 with those Section 302 national security tariffs on steel? Does there have to be a specific rationale, or is it any tariff that Trump theoretically has the power to impose?
Every grant of power has some type of hoops the president has to jump to, but whether or not a court can come in and say he didn't jump through the hoop properly is really a low bar.
Okay.
There's not a lot of fact-finding the court can do if Trump says this is national security risk. A judge is not going to say, oh, no, you're wrong, because that's his power as a judge. So there are some hoops he does have to jump through kind of regulatory process-wise to put these down, but the power is still there. If Congress doesn't like this situation, what they can do, especially in the lame duck when they still have Biden, is pass laws to take those powers back, which is very much within their power. They could say, look, we don't want to grant Trump the ability to raise or lower these tariffs. Or what Senator Mike Lee and Senator Rand Paul have done in two separate bills is say, okay, look, we're going to still give you this grant of power. However, we are then going to take back essentially a veto power to say, look, if both chambers of commerce disapprove of your tariff action within 30 days, then it is rescinded. So it still has the initial power to Trump, but then Congress would then be able to come behind and say, no, we disagree, we're rescinding this. So that'd be some taking back of power.
Well, so there's one more constitutional debate I want to ask you about with this U.S. Postal Service audit sort of their performance during the 2024 election. What would Republicans especially who really care about election integrity, do they have any national power to regulate the Postal Service's role in all of this? Going forward, how do we make these elections so we aren't going into December unsure about some of these House races?
Sure. So what was so fascinating about the Postal Service report was that this is something that they issue every 4 years after presidential, kind of like an after-action report. And what they said was, look, we delivered almost 100 million pieces of mail, but with that 90% rate, that means hundreds and thousands of them were either late or didn't get there on time, et cetera. And what they said was, look, a lot of these state laws are just unreasonable in far as how close they are to the deadline and what they expect the Postal Service to be able to accomplish with 100% accuracy. And so in the findings of the report, they said, look, policymakers need to look into changing these laws. And they were kind of addressing state regulators, but there is no reason Congress can't come in and set federal standards for federal elections. They've done so since 1863, when they first set the first national election day. So Congress could easily come in and say, look, if you're going to have a mail-in ballot, fine. It has to be mailed out by October 15th, and it has to be not just mailed, but received by Election Day, which is the case in a lot of states, including Florida. And that way, these states, instead of taking months into Thanksgiving to tabulate results, would have them right away. This is something Congress can do, and it's definitely something I think they should.
I mean, I think these are stories that never get old. The states versus Congress, Congress versus Trump. We all know it will be a huge story going into 2025. Until next week, please check out more from Conn and the rest of the Washington Examiner team at washingtonexaminer.com.